Hey guys, welcome back. A few more things have happened to the VB. I've actually done a little bit here and there without filming, so I'll show you guys a few little updates to do with the engine since that's been put in. So as you can probably see straight away, throttle body, water pump, alternator, balancer are all on. So end up going with a billet aftermarket alternator bracket there, which also allows you to delete the power steering. I'm a little concerned that there isn't a lot of wrap around the balancer and water pump, but we'll just have to see how it goes. They reckon that seems to work, so we just went with an LS1 alternator. Also got some fuel rails in there now as well, just standard injectors in at the moment, just for dummying up. And look, at the end of the day, if I do the first fire up on the standard injectors, it's not really going to matter, but we'll see how we go. Fuel regulator there, just straight into the back of the rail. Not sure if it'll stay like that or not. We're just playing around with some ideas. Also, notice I started smoothing off the factory rocker covers there. I was looking at maybe going down the aftermarket route, but then saw the price of them and sort of thought again. So I've just started taking off all the little sort of brackets where the coil brackets bolted to and stuff like that. I will need the little holes to be welded up before I go along and give it a nice finish and then decide what colour we're going to paint them. That side still original. So what else have we done? The factory VF starter motor, I'm hoping we'll be able to clear with a power steering rack down there. Not 100% sure yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. Have some brackets for the coils, so they're thanks to Tough Mounts. Not 100% sure where the coils are going to be going yet. Possibly up in under the dash with just a couple of holes. Down this area somewhere maybe, or hidden out of the way with the leads to come through. Also mounted the intercooler, so use a bit of a shot back here. Managed to get it up nice and hidden. There's just some little brackets up the top. They will not be staying there, so that was just for me to try and position it. Once I have done a lower section for the radiator, that will also mount the intercooler at the bottom. So you can see here I did have to cut out some of the rail for the in and out of the intercooler to fit. There was just no way for it to work apart from that. Otherwise it was going to be hanging down far too low, so that gives you a bit of an idea. I've also pulled out the diff and fuel tank are out of the vehicle. We're going to a cell in the boot and the car will be getting tubbed, so they all had to come out, and hopefully within the next month or so start to look at some body work there with adding a strip into the factory tubs. So yeah, that's how the engine bay is looking at the moment, guys. Still a long way to go, but a little more complete nonetheless. A few more parts have rocked up, which is always exciting, so let's get stuck into them. So Tough Mounts here, Turbo 400 gearbox mount, and then also a cross member to suit VB to VK. Got a flex plate here, nothing too fancy, just open it up, have a look anyway. That's it there. Like I said, nothing too flash, but should do the job. Our B&M shifter. So I ended up going for a Pro Ratchet in the Stealth series. So I did mention in an early episode that I won't be running a center console, so we will be mounting this straight on top of the carpet. I'm sure you're all familiar with what they look like. Quite a nice shifter, and I will be adding the trans brake button in the shifter, so I will need to buy a new plate for that. Now, another exciting part is we got our turbo. Ended up going with a Borg Warner S474. I believe it is just a replacement for a certain truck or something along those lines. It's a 75/88mm, just journal bearing, T6, 1.32 rear housing. I did a little bit of research. Seems like quite a few guys have used these, and bang for buck wise, they are really good. This particular one has had a billet front wheel, so I did buy this second hand. However, it's supposed done no real work since the billet wheel has been done, so we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty confident that it will be fine for this combination. Obviously we could always go bigger, but I feel like this is not a bad spot to start at all. This is our Turbo 400, so pretty excited to fit this up. Ended up going with a Cohen, however you want to pronounce it, off the shelf. This one in particular is rated to about 800 horsepower, so I was tossing up between this one or going the 1000. In the end, just decided to go with this. It should be plenty for the power that we're chasing. And look, down the track, if I think I'm going to be chasing more, we can always get things upgraded, but they label it as their super competition transmission. So heavy duty 34 element sprag, 300mm alloy input shaft, steel clutch hub, deep alloy pan. This also has a trans brake, reverse pattern with no engine braking. So yeah, I think it'll be a good thing. I've had a Turbo 400 before, reverse pattern with no engine braking. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you're used to it, they're a pretty cool thing. We'll unbox this and put it in the car. I don't have a converter yet. I'm not too stressed. This is more so just for dummying up, so the engine will be sitting where it needs to be. Right guys, we'll start by unboxing it and then we can have a decent look at it. So the transmission, shifter and the flex plate were all sourced through Outlaws. Highly recommend them guys if you're in Adelaide or even interstate and looking for somewhere that has a lot of stuff in stock at really good prices. Yeah, strongly recommend Outlaws to anyone. Alright guys, so that's it out of the box. Nothing too fancy to look at, I know, but I'm pretty excited. This is another major piece of the puzzle for the car, so getting this in is going to be awesome. Sorry you missed the first bit. It's a little bit hard by myself, but basically just slid the trans under there. Managed to slide the jack underneath and pull it up onto it. So it's just, I just had to sort of get it to where it is so it would balance by itself before I could start recording again. So only a little bit more to go up and we'll get some bolts in and it should pull up, no worries. So we'll see how we go. That's two bolts up the top. Transmission is pulled up. So we will jump underneath. Alright guys, fit the cross member up. Now these actually only locate on one bolt either side. So that's how these are from the factory. And I rang Tough Mounts and just questioned it, just to ask, you know, if they are only meant to line up with one bolt, and they said yes, that's correct. So that's the way it is, I guess. In, we can see only the one bolt hole either side. I know that looks a little bit strange, but apparently that's the way it is. So none of the other bolt holes line up with what's there. So apparently that's it. So that's all bolted up. Alright, it's a little bit hard to see on the ground down here, but you get the idea. Put some more bell housing bolts in, and I think that'll do us for now. Okay guys, well there we have it. The Turbo 400 is in, everything's done up, all of the bell housing bolts are in. So like I said earlier, there's no converter at the moment, but that's okay. It's only being in there for dummy use anyway. The flex plate is in there, but not bolted on, so I've got bolts coming. I will be able to fit them with the transmission installed, so they should be here, I don't know, next couple of days, so I'll be able to chuck them in. And then the flex plate will be bolted up. I had to pull the starter motor out. Just on the top side here, seems to be just fouling on the casting of the bell housing, so I'll either take a little bit out of the bell housing or take a little bit out of the starter and be able to bolt that back up, no worries. So yeah, apart from that, guys, it's all back in. I did have to loosen the engine mounts off as it was sitting a little crooked, and now having done that, you can see that it has actually brought my starter a lot closer to the chassis rail. I mean, it was close to start with, but that's definitely a little bit closer. So the engine is sitting where it needs to be now, ready for our turbo to go on and some fab work to be started. So yeah, thanks for watching today, guys. I know it was a little bit of a slow video, not a lot happening, but it's a pretty big achievement to get that Turbo 400 in there. Something I had been saving up for a little while, so I'm glad that's done, and now we can get into the fun stuff. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and please give us a like. Hit the little bell for notifications of new videos, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.